Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you for joining me. This commentary is pertaining to a Maryland male who has been charged with sexual battery, kidnapping, carjacking of men he met on Tinder, and other charges. I will read those charges at the end of the article. But first, I want to play some audio pertaining to the crimes that he committed against males that he met on the date site. Thank you for joining me.
A Maryland man is in jail tonight accused of using the dating app Tinder to lure victims and commit violent crimes.
News 4's Amy Cho has more of the clues that help police catch him, and we're also working for you with tips on how you can stay safe on dating apps.
This is the man accused of terrorizing two men he met on Tinder. 26-year-old Rodney Richardson from Brandywine. Prince George's County Police say last Friday, Richardson invited a Tinder date to his house, raped him at gunpoint, and demanded his phone, ID, and social security number. Police say Richardson made the victim stay in a car trunk all night, threatened to kill him and his family. Then the next morning, drove the victim to the bank and made him withdraw $4,500 before eventually letting him go.
Very disturbing. The fact that he was armed makes it very disturbing and heinous type of crimes to the police department.
Richardson was also charged in a separate attack. Police say 2 weeks ago, he came with another Tinder date to a dirt road, then robbed him at gunpoint, taking his phone, wallet, and car, along with the crutches the victim needed to walk, leaving him stranded in the freezing cold. Court documents say the victim began to crawl on his hands and knees as he was unable to walk due to being an amputee. He hid in a nearby ditch, fearing the suspect would return. An off-duty officer driving by happened to see the victim and called for help. Police say both victims identified Richardson in pictures and that he also used his real name when trying to get the money from the bank. Police say if you're meeting someone from an app, it's best to do so in public.
Tell a friend, a family member, what times you're going to be meeting a person, where you're going to be meeting them, and even maybe offer the ability for them to track your phone.
Richardson is now facing a long list of criminal charges, including rape, kidnapping, assault, armed carjacking and robbery, extortion, and reckless endangerment. And Richardson is currently being held in jail without bond. His next court appearance is scheduled for March 15th. Amy Cho, News 4.
Good that he's off the streets. A spokesman for Tinder says that they were unable to locate a profile matching the description of Rodney Richardson.
Well, he possibly got rid of his profile. Let's talk about this situation. Thank you for joining me. A man from Prince George's County, Maryland, is accused of terrorizing two men he met on the dating app Tinder and faces a slew of charges, including rape, kidnapping, and armed robbery. Rodney Richardson, 26, invited a Tinder date to his house in Brandywine on February 10th. Now, when you go into the article, this is by News 4 Washington. It's a long road leading to the house, a very nice spread, I may add. This is not your typical house. So I don't know what he does for a living, who he lives with, but somebody's got a little bit of pocket change. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's a nice spread. So we're going to chop that up as well. Okay, he invited a Tinder date to his house in Brandywine on February 10th, where he raped the man at gunpoint, demanded he demanded the phone, ID, and social security number, Prince George's County Police said. Then, Richardson forced the victim to stay in the trunk of a car all night, police said. The victim told police Richardson threatened to kill him and his family. The following morning, police said Richardson drove the victim to a bank and made him withdraw $4,500 before eventually letting him go. Very disturbing. The fact that he was armed makes it very disturbing and heinous types of crimes to the police department, Major Zachary O'Leary said. February 2nd, police said Richardson met another man who was an amputee and robbed him at gunpoint of his phone, wallet, car. Police said Richardson also stole the man's crutches that he needed to walk and left him stranded in the cold. The victim began to crawl on his hands and knees as he was unable to walk due to being an amputee. He hid in a nearby ditch, fearing the suspect would return, court documents say. All right. An off-duty officer driving by saw the victim and called for help. Now, what are the odds of that? Interesting. Police said both victims identified Richardson in photos. O'Leary advised that people meeting on dating apps should meet in a public place. Tell a friend, family member what times you're going to meet a person, where you're going to meet them, and maybe even offer them the ability to track your phone, O'Leary said. Richardson has been charged with rape, kidnapping, assault, armed carjacking, and robbery, extortion. reckless endangerment. He is being held in jail without bond. News 4 NBC Washington is the source if you need verification for the information. Let's start with the obvious. Is Mr. Richardson bisexual or gay? Because due to the fact that the victims are men, that would lead one to believe that he is a homosexual or bisexual man. Does he have a girlfriend or wife? Who does he live with in this nice house? Because it's a very nice looking house with a very long driveway, possibly rural Maryland. So who does he stay with? When he put the person in the trunk, which car did he put him in? His own car or that person's car? Why are you showing your face on a date site, then robbing the people? Taking them to your home, mistake number 1. Luckily, he didn't kill these men. But as we know with these types of crimes, it could elevate as not to be apprehended. Does he have a drug problem? I wondered that. What is the motive for the robbery? Does he work? Does he have a job? Why is he robbing these men? One man he sexually assaulted and wow. He accosted that man, asking him if he had AIDS. Let me see if I can find that information. 1 second, please. This is very disturbing information. Very, very, very disturbing. 1 second. Okay. Trying to find the article. Well, I've got so many. This is not good. I had it in here somewhere. No, I can't find it. That's one of the allegations. Did he ask one of the men, did he have AIDS before penetrating him? Sexually assaulted him, rather. Pretty bold. How many men has he accosted on the date site and in general? How many men has he accosted, raped, robbed? How long has he been doing this? Has he robbed anyone in their house, their apartment? Why are you showing your face and doing this and not think that these men would go to the police department? That's very strange to me. Why he would think these people would not go, whether he threatened them or not. One person he stole what, $4,500 from the bank? For some reason, I don't know why I can't pull that information up. This is bad. This is real bad. I want to know who he lives with. That house that they're showing. Let me see. Let me play this for a minute.
Of charges. Fox Eye Sierra Fox is lined in Brandywine to explain what's going on here. Sierra.
Jim, just take a look at your screen. This is 26-year-old Rodney Richardson. He's accused of meeting his victims on a popular dating app, Tinder, and doing horrible things to them.
The message to anybody doing online dating or using an app to buy or sell, first do it in a public place, have the meeting in a public place. Second thing is tell a friend, a family member, what times you're going to be meeting a person, where you're going to be meeting them, and even maybe offer the ability for them to track your phone while you are encountering another individual that you do not know.
We want to warn you, these details are disturbing. According to court documents, Richardson used the fake name Joe on Tinder. Back on February 2nd, a man picked up Richardson and drove him to Horseshoe Road in Brandywine, Maryland. A detective says they stepped out of the SUV to smoke weed and talk. Then shortly after, Richardson allegedly asked the victim for his cell phone. He complied. Then Richardson is accused of taking out a silver handgun, pointing it at him and demanding his wallet. Richardson asked the victim for his debit card PIN number, then drove off in his 2019 white Subaru Forester. Days later, on February 12th, Richardson met up with another man he met on Tinder outside a church before bringing him over to his house. Soon after, Richardson allegedly tied the victim's hands, told him to lay down in the trunk, and asked if he had AIDS before raping him at gunpoint. Legal filings say the attacker watched the man all night. The next day, Richardson allegedly forced the victim to drive him to his bank and take out $4,500. People who live in the area say this is disturbing.
It's awful, whether it's a man, raping another man or a man raping a woman. It's horrible. It's a scary place we live in now. It seems like we can't go anywhere without something happening.
Unfortunately, police do believe there are more victims out there. They understand people may be hesitant to come forward after experiencing a traumatic situation like this, but they would like to hear from you. Back to you.
All right, everybody. You can find it in the YouTube queue. This information, this is Fox 5, Washington, D.C. So here is the information that I was searching for that speaks of him asking the man, does he have AIDS before raping him? This is bold. So what you have to ask yourself is, in one instance, he doesn't rape one guy, but then in another instance, he rapes that guy. Why? Turned on more by one guy versus the other? Because I did give you information that one was an amputee. That's the one he left out in the road, and that guy hid in a ditch and was found by a police officer. Watching the other man all night and then taking his car to go to the bank to withdraw $4,500. So where did he ditch the amputee's car? I'd like to know. Where was that car found, that SUV found? Where was the second car found? Why is he raping these men? Why was he raping these men? Robbing them using, you're not disguising yourself. You're putting your face up there, using a fake name, meeting with them. One guy, they said they were smoking weed outside the car. Then things changed. He put out a weapon. Not thinking what? They're not going to go say anything. Why would they not? And yes, it is true. Many people who are assaulted, sexually assaulted, will not call the police, especially if they were date rape. Somebody put something in their drink from a bar, club, or their home, house, and or climbed through the window, broke in their house. Because a lot of times the perpetrator will threaten them. Hey, I'll be back. Hey, I'll hurt your family. I'll hurt your kids. So they live in fear. But the thing you have to remember is you not speaking up gives this perpetrator the advantage to go back out here and commit these crimes to someone else. Whether it is somebody that you just met, you've known a while, family member, friend, neighbor, it doesn't matter who they are, you need to speak up. My guest is Miss Melissa. She's going to weigh in. Thank you, Melissa. What do you have to say about the information?
Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Hold on. Oh, you got me on?
You're on, dear.
All right. So I'm just lost for words. And you just have to be, because you're right. There could have been that, I'm pretty sure it's more victims, but as of, like you were speaking on, shit, that person may have had a wife, may have had had something going on to where it didn't want it to get out, but I'm pretty sure if they probably would have spoke out.
Did you look at this picture?
Yeah.
Nice looking.
Yeah, very nice looking. Very nice looking guy.
And then when you look at the house is like far from the road. It's like a long road to the house, that leads to the house. A nice spread.
Yeah.
I would assume somebody got a little pocket change. So now we have to ask, whose house is that? Because he's only 26. And it's not to say that a 26-year-old can't have, a substantial job or bank account. But I'm wondering if he lives with somebody such as parents or family member, or I don't know. I'm just looking at him wondering if he owns this property.
Yeah, if he own it, somebody got to know. I'm pretty sure he's not standing there by himself, especially by him being that age. And what's the motive behind it? Did you just get a thrill out of it? Is it something that you just enjoy doing? And then, like you said, shit, are you gay? I mean, bisexual, like
Yeah.
what can possibly be going on with this young man for him to do that? But as I say, them dating sites is kind of dangerous. You got to be careful with them. But just
But you
looking
remember
at
what I
his
told you.
picture,
Remember what I told you. Like I tell everybody else, these are the same people who are out here dating, married, going to school, working, talking to people, picking up people at the gas station, the bar. This is just an easier way to pick up people without having to go to the bar, to the sporting event, church. You see where I'm going?
right? And exactly.
Facebook is
And
all the same. There are people who actually scroll Facebook to try to pick up people. It's really the same.
yeah, because Facebook got a thing set up that's a dating app.
Yes, I've seen it. Yes.
Yes, and it's just scary because you just never know what you meet nowadays. It's kind of scary to be in the dating world this time and age. Back
It's
then,
single, yes.
and back in when I was coming up, it really wasn't. It was out there, but it really wasn't that bad. But it's like it's ridiculous because the same person that looks so charming and so trustworthy, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and
But that's the thing, you don't know people.
yeah, you don't know them, and you get comfortable, invite them in your house. The next thing you know, you slaughtered or beat or robbed. It's just kind of like, and that's even just meeting
But
somebody.
that's the whole point, is that many people die every day from people that they met, they dated, and they didn't meet them on a date site.
Right, they met them at a car,
They
a
met them
gas
at
station, grocery store, at a bar.
Right.
And it's like you don't know that. You don't know because as soon as you may met that one person at 9 o'clock, and then shoot, they're a whole totally different person.
Yes, isn't
once
that
you get
interesting?
along.
Well, my aunt once said that you may agree to hook up with somebody or agree to invite them over to your home, and it may be the understanding that you're going to have sex or just you want company. Whatever happens, happens. But the point she made is once the door closed, all bets are off. And that is when you find out what you're dealing with, is once the person is inside of your home. You don't know, as soon as they come in, you shut the door, they might just decide to start choking you or start beating you to sleep. And I have seen a case from a documentary where a woman invited a guy over. I believe she met him on a date site. This was in, I believe, West Virginia. And she opened the door and she said as soon as he stepped in, he punched her.
Yeah.
Punched her in her face.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up murdering him. She was able to get a gun and she shot him dead.
Right. And like that one girl that was like, I can't remember where it was out of. Shoot, met the dude on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And went out with him.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed a picture, before and after, and how he just disfigured her face. And she was like, she didn't see that coming. How? He was so charming. And, and it's
how did he do it, sweetheart?
He was just, she said once they got in there, they got comfortable, he just went into a rage and just started beating her.
Okay. See, that's my point. It's that the perpetrator has to be able to get close enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter the method, because everybody's method is not the same. One person's method is just to walk up to you, spray you with something, cut your face, throw acid on you. Then another person's method is, I'll pretend I'm interested. Hey, how are you? What's your name? Blah, all that type of crazy nonsense. Yeah. And then you foolishly talk to the person, meet them in public, or bring them up back to your place, or you go to their place. But once again, you don't know what's going to happen once you are alone with someone. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the fact the cops is like tracking the phone. Get someone to possibly track your phone and tell people where you're going and let them know. Okay, but guess what? If a person don't care, that won't even matter. It's a good idea, yes. Hey, girl, I'm going out with this guy. Here's a picture of him. I don't be back by the time, or you don't reach me, call the police. You understand? Call the police. But what if they kill you and then bury you somewhere or discard you? It's a good thing, you got his picture. But we know you got to now do all that investigative tools of chasing the person, trying to see how they met, going in their devices, following them around, trying to get information. It can be daunting because you now got to try to tie him into your friend.
Yeah.
And people don't cover stuff up on their phone anyway.
Yeah. Tie him to the friend and they got to do the investigation. Okay, well, was he the last person seen her? And it's just too much, and it's crazy. And then to take it back, you know, when I was when you know back in Kansas City, it was a serial killer. There was, you know, all these street women was coming up missing, and he said,
You breaking up, baby.
he was actually um after he killed the women, it was like, you know, women that was out there in drugs or whatever, streetwalkers or however, he was killing them, and then would call the police and tell them they could find a body.
Okay, was he killing them and dropping them in abandoned buildings?
Yep.
Was he black?
Yep.
I think I know who he is. I think I saw that on First 48.
Yep. And then, yep, and you're right. And then
he had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that story.
You see, and then following that, I don't know if it never had to make the news.
And no emotion. There was no emotion when they brought him in for the arrest. He was very calm, I believe.
But he did that from being his mom.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
his mom,
I think his mother was a worker.
Yeah. And then, following that, it was this girl that was at a bar in Kansas City, and this is how crazy this is. Okay. So the girl was out at a nice, you know, little establishment, and there was a guy in there that was real nice dressed, well, looked like he walled off with money or whatever, and was, you know, whining and dining her. And he asked her, you know, let's go to another bar. So she agreed to go to another bar, and he asked her, was she okay with him stopping at his house to get some more money? She was like, sure. So she goes in his house with him. Why he keep her hostage, and told her that when he come back, he was gonna kill her. And then guess what? He was a cousin of the serial killer.
Wow.
He come to find out he was him and the guy that was they considered as a serial killer. They was related.
Okay. So what's the time frame between the serial killer and this cousin committing crimes?
It was
well, at the same time or after he got arrested the first?
Well, it was after he got arrested. So it may possibly, if I can remember right, because it's so long ago, it was after the serial killer got arrested.
Okay.
And then this may could have happened.
I had heard that.
A month or a year later. So, and it just was crazy because I'm like, you know, and she ended up getting away. He had left, and you know, he was sitting there, held her hostage, and she had ended up somehow getting away and got out of his apartment or whatever, and ran down the street with no clothes on to a neighbor's house.
Okay.
Because he's told her that when he get back, he was gonna kill her.
Okay. Let's talk about Rodney asking the guy if he had AIDS. So that means he naturally penetrated the man without a condom. Because why are you going to ask that if you're using a condom?
Right.
What do you think about that statement?
That is it's so crazy. That right there, you out here, I mean, just like, that's just careless. It's point blank careless, because how, you know, if it's going to track back to you, that's just careless. Because first of all, he didn't give a dang about showing his face. And then if you definitely
that's number one.
A man,
that's number one. Robbery rate number one.
Yes, and if you face the person, and then that's leaving the trail, your DNA for one.
Yeah.
To show.
And then he didn't kill them.
Yeah. So it's some.
Well, let's talk about that though. If I'm asking you, do you have AIDS? And you probably, if you had any sense, you should have told him yes. Yeah, I'm HIV. don't rape me. I got it. You feel me? So that makes you wonder if he's out here been having sex with men without a condom. So now you have to ask that question. Does he possibly have HIV or AIDS?
Right. Yeah. So it could be. That's another question. That's another question.
That's a stupid question to ask somebody You kidnapping a person, you've already robbed them, and then you got to know to ask them, do they have AIDS? Well, this person should be asking you the same question. Hell, do you have AIDS? You up here raping and robbing folks. Do you have it? Hell, maybe I don't want it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's been doing a lot of dirty things for 26 years of age. And that's what's so scary. He's young. So what all has he been doing of his short years on top of this earth?
Yeah, he's been. I'm pretty sure I can bet anything on it that it's gonna be more victims come forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because usually that's how it trends in something like this. You know, if once he's locked up and they know they're safe,
yeah,
now there'll be a good time where it's gonna be more people that come forward. Because he threatened that man. He'll kill his family. And that's probably what he probably have told so many of the victims that to where they scared. But now that they see this going natural, they putting his face on there, it's definitely gonna be more victims to it. And that's definitely for sure. Now, so the guy, the one that so the guy, so I guess that would make sense so the guy that was in his trunk that he put in the trunk to make him go get the $4,500.
Yeah.
He went straight to the police.
All night. Said he watched him all night. How you watch you? In a car. Watched you in the house or watched you in the car? I didn't really understand that.
Yeah. Watched him all night like
I think that's the one he sexually assaulted.
Yeah. And I guess it would have, and I'm like, I got questions. Who live in the house? Like who? How could you do this? Did you park the car there? So he never took the man in the house, right?
We got to ask all the questions. You had to gotten a way to meet the people. So how did he go and meet the guys? That's number one. How did he meet them? On a bicycle, a Uber, a Lyft, his own car? Because he ended up taking their cars. So then you have to ask yourself, how did he meet them? Or did he have them pick him up? Or did he walk around the corner and tell them to pick me up at a stop sign? See, those are the things you always have to be aware of. And I would tell any woman that it's really not a good idea to be picking up men that you first meet. It's really not. Some of us have done it. But first date, hell no. You don't need to be picking up nobody for no reason. No, I'll meet you somewhere. Because that is dangerous. Picking them up. That's why he couldn't have had a car because he's taking their cars.
Right. So I'm like you. Like, how was he?
How did they get picked up? How did they meet?
Yeah, like where did you tell him to meet him at? Because
his house is out in the middle of nowhere. So I don't want to say nowhere, but it looks rural. How did he get from his house to the date? So did he have the guys pick him up, or he Ubered somewhere? Because he couldn't have had a car, because that looks stupid. You're going to drive your car somewhere to meet somebody to then jump in that person's car to rob them, then dump their car. Then how did he even get from the dump site with their cars? That's another question.
So the guy that was in the trunk, so he let him go in his own car?
I'll have to reread it. I'll have to read that.
And then it's like nowadays, shoot, you can. Now they make these cars now where you can pop the trunk from the inside.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a minute. Let me play it again. Wait a minute. Let's see.
After letting him go. That's what, so after letting him go. So I take it, I want to say, because I read it, I listened to it too, before I even got on with you. But, it was before they,
This county is now behind bars, facing a whole slew of charges. Fox Sierra Fox is lined in Brandywine to explain what's going on here. Sierra.
Jim, just take a look at your screen. This is 26-year-old Rodney Richardson. He's accused of meeting his victims on a popular dating app, Tinder, and doing horrible things to them.
The message to anybody doing online dating or using an app to buy or sell, first, do it in a public place. Have the meeting in a public place. Second thing is tell a friend, a family member, what times you're going to be meeting a person, where you're going to be meeting them, and even maybe offer the ability for them to track your phone while you are encountering another individual that you do not know.
We want to warn you, these details are disturbing. According to court documents, Richardson used the fake name Joe on Tinder. Back on February 2nd, a man picked up Richardson and drove him to Horseshoe Road in Brandywine, Maryland. A detective says they stepped out of the SUV to smoke weed and talk.
Okay, there you hear it. He picked him up in Brandywine and they went somewhere to smoke weed. So that means what? He picked him up where? At his house? Where? Okay, we're going to finish.
Shortly after, Richardson allegedly asked the victim for his cell phone. He complied. Then Richardson is accused of taking out a silver handgun, pointing it at him, and demanding his wallet. Richardson asked the victim for his debit card PIN number, then drove off in his 2019 white Subaru Forester. Days later, on February 12th, Richardson met up with another man he met on Tinder outside a church before bringing him over to his house. Soon after, Richardson...
Okay, the second guy he meets outside at a church. Make sure we get that right.
Yep.
This guy in the Subaru, that was an amputee. For those just now coming in the chat, listening to this information. The first guy that the Subaru belonged to, that guy had no legs. He also stole the walker or whatever. It's ridiculous.
His
so
crutches.
Could not walk.
He stole
he
his crutches.
Ditch until the police drove by and found him. Okay. Now we're on guy number 2. They've met outside of a church. So now we've got to ask, how did Richardson get to the church? We'll see.
And allegedly tied the victim's hands, told him to lay down in the
Let me
trunk,
go back a little bit.
and asked if he to smoke weed and talk. Then shortly after, Richardson allegedly asked the victim for his cell phone. He complied. Then Richardson is accused of taking out a silver handgun, pointing it at him, and demanding his wallet. Richardson asked the victim for his debit card PIN number, then drove off in his 2019 white Subaru Forester. Days later, on February 12th, Richardson met up with another man he met on Tinder outside a church before bringing him over to his house. Soon after, Richardson allegedly tied the victim's hands, told him to lay down in the trunk, and asked if he had AIDS before raping him at gunpoint. Legal filings say the attacker watched the man all night. The next day, Richardson allegedly forced the victim to drive him to his bank and take out $4,500. People who live in the area say this is disturbing.
It's awful whether it's a man and, raping another.
See, right here, I have a problem with this second person. They said he met him outside of a church. Okay. Did he tell the guy to come drive over to the church? Because allegedly both of these guys are from Tinder, I'm assuming. So the guy met him there, and then what? Followed him, Richardson, in his car? Because he took him to his house, this guy.
Right.
Took this guy to his house. Why did he choose to take this guy? I think he was probably more sexually attracted to this guy here, the one that he took to the house. Because to me, that's personal when you start talking about inviting anybody to your house.
Yeah.
Especially when you know you have nefarious intentions. So he takes this guy, they said met outside of a church, took him home, and this is the one that he tied up, raped, watched all night. This is and drove to the bank to get his money.
Another man or a man raping a woman, it's horrible. It's a scary place we live in now. It seems like we can't go anywhere without something happening.
Yeah, you're right. I really think...
Unfortunately, police do believe there are more victims out there. They understand people may be hesitant to come forward after experiencing a traumatic situation like this, but they would like to hear from you. Back to you.
All right, everybody. That's Fox 5. Fox 5 DC is the source. If you need verification for the information, I'll go ahead, Melissa. What do you have to say? Hello?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I really truly believe that something wrong with the man. I mean, it gotta be It gotta be. He has to be on some kind of drugs.
So I was asked that in the beginning of this live stream. Is he on drugs? Is he feeding a drug problem? Or is he just nasty? He likes sex and he also likes having money in his pocket. He's not willing to work for it. So he feels I can meet people on the site, rob them, which many men have done this to women, gotten to know them, got close to them, started getting into their Google accounts and emails and opening up accounts and loans and things in their name, and stealing and robbing them and then leaving them and then moving on to the next woman.
Yeah.
It's still a form of con regardless. It's just the method is different.
Yeah. That makes.
That's why you have to be careful about letting people in your house. See, women, we are eager, to get with men, just like they're eager as well. But you have to think about common sense. You walk out of your room with all your valuables in there, such as your good jewelry you bought, jewelry you got from your mother, your grandmother. And think about this for a minute. You turn your back and go in a bathroom or kitchen, take a shower, whatever the hell you're doing. You're leaving all your goodies in there, your phone, your this, your that, with a complete stranger. Don't you think about that for a minute?
Yeah, that's setting up for. That's just setting up just for. That's just setting yourself up.
Yeah, because that's the assumption. Oh, he wouldn't steal from me. He wouldn't steal my jewelry. See, you got all types of cons. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah. We have all types of cons. That's why I don't invite everybody to my home. I'm sorry. I have too much, it's too much. It's just kind of crazy because all it takes is a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
They can distract you. If you go give me a cup of ice or, distract you. All alone, they plotting.
And I would say that to a woman right now. If you decide to have a fling with a man or meet somebody you've been dating a while and you decide to bring them back to your house and you all decide to go into your bedroom for whatever reason, I will not leave out anything valuable such as jewelry, iPads, phones, anything that's got sensitive information, because if you're dating the wrong guy or entangled with the wrong guy, they can steal that stuff. Now, naturally, a person will say, well, how you gonna steal an iPad? The point is, you could have sex with a person, they get up and leave in the night while you sleep and rob your ass blind, especially if he drove his own car.
Exactly.
Carefully. If he drove his own car, he can unload your house while you're asleep. Now,
on that note, my friend, it happened to her.
Yeah. So if you're a heavy sleeper, all your shit can be gone. Your TV, your DVD player, Blu-ray, iPads, computers, laptops.
Exactly. Everything is just gone. Because that's what happened to my friend. She invited a guy over there, never met, and the crazy part is when she went into the store, the gas station or whatever, the man that worked in the store was like, "Do you know him?" Because he probably knew him, because know he was up to no good, And she was like, "Yeah, yeah." And she have a bad habit.
Slow down. How would the man in the store know who's in her car?
Well, he came in the store.
Oh, with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess he asked, did she know him? She took him home and when.
But where did she meet him, honey?
She met him at a club.
Okay, so she met him at a club, and how soon was it before they went into a store together?
As soon as they left the club. So enough time, I guess, depends on where the store was.
Lord mercy.
Yeah, and when she woke up, he was gone. Stole her daughter car. Stole her daughter laptop.
What?
Yeah. I said it's a good thing that he could have killed everybody in the house.
That's true.
At the time, her daughter had a little baby. He wasn't even a year old yet. And I said, girl, you don't do stuff like that.
Let me ask you this. If she has a daughter who has a child, I'm trying to figure out what's her age.
She's 51, 52.
But at the time when it happened, how old was she?
At the time, she had to been maybe 50. It wasn't
so 50 years old. How old was the guy?
And the guy could have been around. It was somebody that she knew, so I guess he could be around the same age range as her.
Okay, so here you got a guy near your own age. You bring him home, and while you're sleeping, he's rummaging through your things and steals your things. So how bad is that? Obviously, she brought him home in her car, right?
Yeah.
So that means a 50-year-old man didn't even have a fucking car. Is that what you're telling me?
Didn't even have a car.
So see, that was sign number one.
Mm-hmm.
A grown man didn't even have a car. He at the club. How did he get to the club?
And folks in the club couldn't understand. Like,
I'm
girl,
just saying. How
you
did
already
he get
know
to
he
the
ain't up
club?
to no good, but that's just something that she does. I'm like, I said, there ain't no 50-year-old man that ain't got no car. I'm not even approaching. That's trouble.
Slow down. That's what she does. What do you mean?
Yeah, she'll do that in a minute. She always has done that. We will go out and she just take random men home.
Okay.
I was like, girl, you bad. My nerves too bad. But
well, we've learned that whether they're random or you've known them for a month, you don't know people.
Yeah.
Because you can easily get robbed after 1 month, 2 months of dating somebody if that's the type of person that he is.
And she know him for a while. I guess she must knew him. She knew him for a while.
Just around the way.
And I want to say he had an addiction though.
Addiction, okay. He may have. Because there's no reason for a grown working man to be stealing out of a woman's house.
Right.
You know what's going to be surprising with this story of this Mr. Richardson? Rodney Richardson is who we're speaking of. If indeed we find out he lives with a woman or dating a woman or married, that will be the icing on the cake.
Most definitely.
That will be the icing on the cake. If we find out he also dates women.
I wonder why that wasn't released.
They're not going to release it if they don't have it. If they don't have it.
I mean, well, I'm saying for them to.
It's an investigation, so there's probably a whole lot they have to, bring
out.
out.
They go to his house. Okay, well, I guess to see who owns the house, or it's gonna be more than that story. It's gonna be more, and hopefully more people will come out. Wish they would have come out sooner, but that's very traumatizing.
Well, think about the guy who didn't have no legs. He's already vulnerable because he doesn't walk.
Right.
And now he's taking a chance to meet a stranger, probably lonely, wanting somebody in his life. He's looking at this guy. Oh, he's really nice looking. Wow, he chose me to meet up with. But little did he know he was meeting Satan himself.
Right.
So what type of person throws out an amputee? Your ass is cold. Come on now.
Yeah. That's
you throw out somebody with no damn legs.
And then take his crutches. Then you take the man crutches.
Ain't no words, girl.
There's no words at all. But
now let's ask the other question I didn't ask. Does he have children?
Yeah. He mentioned 20. Well, I'm gonna say he may be a little bit too young. Yeah, they really
come on now, 26 years old. Folks 26 got kids damn near half.
I'll tell you, that's all I was just about to tell like that.
A lot of people have their children young, so
have them young. So it's still a lot of questions.
Well, let's go here because we're asking all the questions. Homosexual, bisexual, married, dating, on the down low. Who does he live with in that nice home? How long has he been robbing, stealing from people? Does he have a criminal background? We didn't ask that. Has he been to jail, penitentiary? Bingo card. Is he a made homosexual? How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe he's been locked up, been to jail, been sodomized, raped himself. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is he even out of the closet? See, there's a whole lot of questions you can ask pertaining to this man. Who he is as a person. What does he do for a living? Does he have a job? Does he work? Is he active in the community? Is he a misfit? Is he living off of somebody else? Who is Rodney Richardson? 26 years of age, of Maryland. How did he come to be this sinister being? And how many more victims are there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
When I looked at this picture, I was stunned. I first thought I was dreaming when I saw the mugshot. I said, man, they got to be kidding me. This ain't right. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is a nice looking man. I can't tell if he's biracial or black, light-skinned black, but he's a nice looking guy. And guess what? He's going in the right place. Says you like sexual assault men, you in the right place with no bond. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So now he can play footsies with the big boys.
Right. Sure can.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. He's not gonna really have it too well.
Well, my thing is he likes doing it, so he will be right where he belongs.
Yeah.
You like taking it, so you can get it took from you. What's the difference? Taken from you. Appropriate English.
Exactly.
You're a sadist, so naturally somebody may decide, and then he's a pretty boy too. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy.
Yeah, he is. He's very nice. He's very nice. But that's where them cycles come in at.
And that's another myth with a lot of men. They know a guy looks nice, and the first thing they'll say when they hear something nefarious about him, he wouldn't do that. He's a nice looking guy. He plays sports. He do this. He do that. He would never. You can't never say what a person would not do. Looks don't determine anything. That is your most sinister person. The one that is handsome, pretty, all-American. They're active in the community, sports, this and that. You know, your clergyman, a politician, whomever. The least expected person to be a sadist. Because that's the myth. Oh, they're pretty, they're handsome. They would never do that. That makes no logical sense to even say that. Well, why would a guy that looks like that rape somebody? Why not? I always say ask why not. Don't ask why. Ask why not. Let's see, she fell off. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Beganji, 129 Cash App, all stickers and chat to welcome to the live stream. The information that you've been listening to is coming out of Maryland, Brandywine, one of the jurisdictions where Mr. Rodney Richardson, 26, has been charged with sexual battery, kidnapping, carjacking, and other crimes of robbery, extortion, men that he met on the date site Tinder. Now, next question. How many other date sites did he have a profile on? Because you heard in the commentary that I played during this live stream that they couldn't find, Tinder says they didn't see his profile on their app. Well, naturally, he probably got rid of the profile after the second robbery. Assuming, oh yeah, they'll probably go call the police. Let me take this profile down. Let me get rid of this profile. So that's the reason why you can't see it, because he took it down. So let's ask that question. How many profiles did he have on Tinder? Did he use anybody else's picture? He went by the name Joe. Did he give his accurate age? What profession did he give on the date site Tinder? What was his conversation like on Tinder? Has he used his picture on any other date site or gay, bisexual website, app, or date site? How many profiles has he used? Has he also used Facebook, IG, Snapchat as a way of picking up men to lure them to rob them? Once again, is he gay or bisexual? Does he have a girlfriend or wife? Who does he live with? Whose house is that they're showing on the news? Nice looking estate. Does he work, have a job? Is he gainfully employed in the state of Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C.? Who is Rodney Richardson? Will there be others that will come forward to say they have been assaulted and robbed by Mr. Richardson? And how long has he been committing these crimes against men? Does he have children? Who is he living with? His parents, friends, family members? Does he have a criminal background? Does he have thievery, robbery, theft on a criminal record? Any other type of sexual sadism crimes? Attempted rape of a man, a woman, child? Has he molested children? Go ahead and ask that too while we're here. Who is Rodney Richardson? This is a very diabolical case. And I always tell this to people because most of you know I've been on date sites before. And the one thing I like everybody to understand is that the people you see on the date site are people that you know in the community, people you see all the, every day grew up with, went to school with, and they have wives, girlfriends, all of that. So this is why I tell people you can't judge the people on the date site and say, oh, they're all bad people. You don't know who you're going to meet on there. You don't know who you're meeting, period. Because the same people that's on the date site are regular people. I don't know why people keep thinking the date site just has a certain type of person that's on it. Because my thing is, if you're a liar, a thief, a robber, a con artist, that is who you are, whether you are on the site or not. You are just using the site as a tool to get a victim, because it's easier to get a victim from an app than going out to the street and snatching a person, carjacking a person, if you see where I'm going. You're meeting with the victim. You're luring the victim. That's different than going to the street and picking a victim. And if you're not right, you're not right no matter where you are. Date site, no date site. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, it's all the same. And that's what some of you need to understand. Because a lot of people have this theory, oh, only bad people go to the date site. That's not true. If you're foul all the time. The date site has nothing to do with it. It's just an app. You want to go out here and meet people to lure them, rob them, you're going to do it no matter who you meet and where you meet them. Whether it's the grocery store, the gym, church, through a friend, at a bar, at the park, walking trail, it's all the same. If your motivation is connery, the site is just a tool. And yes, many people are using the date sites and apps, IG, Facebook, to scroll to pick up people, assault people physically, mentally, verbally, sexually. Easier access to just look at pretty pictures, handsome pictures. Oh, he looks nice, she looks nice. Let me message her. Let me message him. Let me send him a friend request. IG, Facebook. You foolishly open the app, message or whatever, talk to them. One thing leads to another, you meet. The next thing you know, you're a damn victim. When little did you know, that's what they wanted in the first place. And that's the whole point about life, is that you don't know people. You don't have any idea who you're meeting out here. You don't have any idea of people you've met years ago. You could talk to somebody today that you've known for 20 years, and little do you know, after you start talking and dealing with them, you realize you're dealing with a fool and a buffoon. A queen can speak personally on that. You don't know people. But you can best believe when you start hearing whispers about a person, whether it's a woman or a man, you might want to take heed that there might be some truth to the he said and the she said. And the sad part about people who are sadists, liars, cons, is that everybody don't know that's who they are, because your experience with them may be different than another person's experience. And if you're not talking to people every day to know what they're about, how are you going to know this is his or her motivation? You don't know until you deal with them. So the rules are the same, whether you meet a person on a date site, you hook up with somebody from church or bar, or you befriend them, you get entangled with them. You're not going to know who they are until you deal with them. You hear vast stories of people who have been manipulated and conned and abused by people that they met in general ways, and they realize they have been sleeping with the enemy. Because you do not know people. And I will say this to anyone living. When you meet people and they start asking you for funds and money and personal information, want to know when you go to work, how much you make, do you have stocks, bonds, what's in your bank account, payday, or what's the date on this and that? Those are not normal questions you ask a person when you first meet them. You don't ask people about their personal accounts, their monies, because one, it's none of your business. And especially for women, you don't need to meet men that need to be picked up. He doesn't have a car, the conversation is over. He doesn't have his own apartment or home, the conversation is over. You have to lead by example. When the signs are sitting in front of you that he doesn't even have his own, where is that going to go? Because a lot of people on these sites now just to pick up people, just so they can meet somebody to have a place to stay, a place to crash. find a woman they can get entangled with. She could take him in because he's pillar to post. That's an old hustle anyway. That's an old hustle. And men have been doing that when there was no date site, no apps. Okay? So you have to be careful with the people you meet and greet. But when the signs are sitting in front of you that they don't have their life together, they don't have gainful employment, they don't have a place to live, they don't have a working vehicle, they don't have a driver's license. All these are signs that a person is, to me, they're a misfit. They may seem nice, talk nice, but because isn't that the gist of the story? Is to make themselves appear that they're nice or they're trying to do better, get themselves together. But as I tell people, do you really want a Build-A-Bear? Because that is what you're getting when you deal with an adult that they do not have their life together. And whether they are going to try to con you, manipulate you, rob you or not, as a woman, you shouldn't want somebody that you have to piece together. You don't want to meet somebody you have to already start handing out money and funds to, buying cigarettes, beer, alcohol, picking them up, giving them a ride. That's not copacetic. And it's a bad look. And usually people show you signs that their lives are not together. And I speak from personal experience. Usually people show you what they're made of soon after you meet them. It's just a matter of, do you pay attention to the signs? Because people will lie to you. They'll cry to you. They'll feed you whack-ass stories about their life and where they came from and how they were raised, how they've been mistreated, dogged out, and then you start to feel sorry for them. And then slowly after talking to them, you'll realize, okay, there's something not right with this person. They may fall off in conversation, don't call you back, don't text, don't visit, go a week, 2 days without talking to you. They're now showing you what they're made of. Asking you for money as soon as they meet you. Always broke, don't never have any money. Don't have a place to stay, don't have a viable car, transportation. Don't work. Or going from job to job. The signs are there. So you have to put the people in little boxes and chop up the boxes. And you weigh the boxes out. This don't look good over here. This don't look good over here. Well, this looks good over here, but too many boxes over here are negative. So you weigh it. There's more negative boxes. It's a no-go. Please be safe in meeting and greeting. If you choose to put a profile on a date site or social media app such as IG, Facebook, know that all your information can be shared unless you have your settings on privacy. But anyone can see you if your profile is public. When you have friends of friends, still people can see your information, share your pictures, posts, videos, so on and so forth. Know that this is a public arena that you're dealing with and that you do not know people when they reach out to you and message you. You always have to remember that. And we do have some very sick individuals out here that are more sinister than Mr. Rodney Richardson, that they may want to meet and greet with you to take your life. It'll be more than just tying you up and getting your debit card and PIN, cash app cards, cash off of you. They may decide to play funny games, torture you, and then murder you. And I pray that we will not find out that Mr. Rodney Richardson has taken a life. It's serious business out here. People go missing every day. Children, women, men, boys. And a lot of people are missing because of their habits, such as using narcotics, drugs, drug trafficking, solicitation, being in the wrong company, being inebriated, hooking up with people, going home with people, inviting people over. You have to know that once you close the door, all bets are off. There is no guarantee that when the door is closed, that your guest will play fair. There are no guarantees that your guest will play fair. When I get more information pertaining to Rodney Richardson, 26 years of age, I will bring you an update. If you need to go back to the beginning of this live stream to get the said information, feel free to go back. All information has a source. This male has been charged with sexual battery, kidnapping, carjacking of men he met on Tinder, extortion, also robbery. He's diabolical, but he is now in a jail with no bond. I want to thank you for your time. Please have a safe week. Be aware of your surroundings. Know that everybody's not a friend. Because what I've learned that I keep continuously learning at the age of 52 is that talk is cheap. Please know that. Talk is cheap. So long as the mouth is moving, it does not mean that it is the truth. And sadly, these two men learned that the hard way. But by the grace of God, they are alive to tell the story because they could not have made it. And that is what you need to remember when you're out here meeting and greeting with people. Everybody does not favor you. Everybody is not your friend. Everybody does not wish the best for you. A lot of the people that you meet and greet out here, they are self-serving individuals, and they do not mean you well. And when you see the signs that they are not well, keep it moving. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to The Vault. XL.